Alright, welcome back students. It's nice to see you. Today we're going to be doing a little bit more of like an anticipation brief and talk about a little bit of tips and tricks with frames. If you want to gather a certain speed for certain things, like say you want a faster walk as opposed to a slower walk, or maybe a more creepy crawly walk. A lot of it has to do with the amount of framework and things like that. We have what we call the contact and the passing positions. So you know how last time I kind of skipped around with my keyframes in the last meeting? And for those who didn't make it, no problem. So I skipped around a little bit for the last frames or the pictures in the meeting. Sometimes I'll start with one action and then the middle action and then where I want to end my action. So say for you guys it'll be a walk cycle, so when they just start walking to when they have their feet planted to when they have their other leg up. That is called the contacts. Then there's the position breakdowns, which are all the keyframes in between. So as a kind of suggestion for you new students and a kind of trick that I've learned, I know that if you want to do a very fast run, there's actually the faster the movement, the less frames it takes. So I would even suggest if you're doing a super fast run, I would say 4 frames. And if you're doing a run or a very fast walk, I would suggest 6 frames, 6 pictures. 12 frames is the normal in which we do if we just want a normal leisurely walk. And then if you do 16 frames, it's a strolling walk, a lot more leisurely. You're just kind of taking in, your character's kind of taking in the scenery if they so choose. If you do 20 frames, I would say that's a very slow paced walk. And then 24 frames would be a super slow step, like basically like 1 step per second. And 32 frames, that person's just lost. Alright, you guys. There's something called an elongated in-between. So for those who don't know, the in-betweens are the actions in between the extremes. So when we have a walk cycle, like we mentioned, the first step, when both feet are landed, the next leg step. So elongated in-between is it's not transparent or blurs the living image. So say you have like a normal face and they're turning their head, and elongated in between is where you actually stretch their bodies. So you stretch their bodies, their eyes, and kind of towards the direction. Here's an example here of what I mean by elongated in-betweens. These kind of help with a zip turn or something a lot more quicker motion to kind of be able to exaggerate that without actually doing too much frame work. I don't know if I mentioned it, but one of the good examples, if you guys ever get a chance, or maybe I can send it like a link or something, is watching Pinocchio in Disney, I Got No Tricks on Me. He does a spinning turn, and they do kind of an elongated in-between where they are doing they actually drew out the whooshing motions to make it seem like the animation is going a lot more fluid and faster than it is, without having to draw in each and every turn. So it's a quicker way to show quicker motion because, like I stated earlier, the faster the motion, the less frames are needed. There's also something called the overlapping action. So it's kind of like the elongated in-betweens in a way, but it's pretty much, if we bring ourselves back to the pendulum swing, we have the line and the ball, but let's consider the weight. So when it's up in the air, it starts to slow slightly before it swings back down. So think of the ball thing, it's not going to be perfect from like movement of each of it equaling the same amount of time. You've got to consider the weight of the movement. And the ball is the heaviest part on the light string, and so it's going to push down just like gravity does. And so we have it down at its lowest, and when it's swinging up, it goes up, but then it starts to slow. So there'll be more frames clustered towards each end of the extreme as opposed to the middle, just to show that kind of more fluid motion. Hope this helps. I can't wait to see you guys in the next video and in class. So, bye!